Hello from the sports here, and it's time for my defending tutorial of FIFA 21. And defending is really the art of FIFA. It's all about finding out the balance between putting pressure on the ball holder and cutting passing lanes. And defending in 21 will feel very different, of course, and this video won't turn you into a virtual Maldini instantly, but it will give you the tools and understanding towards becoming a great defensive player. Before we start with the actual techniques, we must talk about the tactics. It is always easy to defend when you have CDMs, since they can have, of course, the instructions to cut passing lanes, which is very effective in a defense. Formations with 2 CDMs are the best if you want a compact defense. Secondly, I strongly recommend you to use your fullbacks on stay back, unless you have 3 central defenders staying back. This, since counterattacks and through balls are very effective in FIFA 21, and you need at least 3 defenders staying back to cope with this. The first rule in the defense is to cover the through ball threat. You have to scan the pitch to see if your opponent is making any dangerous runs, and if he is, you must utilize the right stick switch, which is one of the 2 main keys in a successful defense. You just pinpoint the player you want to switch to with the right stick, which can allow you to quickly cover dangerous areas. Through balls and counters in general are very dangerous in 21, as mentioned before, and you must always prioritize to stop the through ball threat before anything else. That's why the first thing you have to do when the opponent is on a breakthrough is to check the edge of your screen to see if there is any dangerous activity going on. When the dangerous area is secured, you can start to think about your pressure play and trying to make your opponent feel uncomfortable in his possession game. And here, the L1 switch comes into play, which is LB on Xbox to switch to the player that is standing closest to the ball holder. And with this, you can quickly approach the ball holder and try to win the ball back. Defending is a lot about scanning dangerous areas and at the same time trying to stay close to the ball holder. And with this combination of the right stick switch and the L1 switch, you can achieve both. And both commands must be used in a successful defense. With the right stick switch, you can also stay one step ahead of the opponent and really start to read the gameplay if you want to take it to the next level and dominate your opponent. This leads us to the second key in the defense, which is of course the jockey button, L2 button, as we mention every year. This gives you great control of your defender in 1v1 situations and gives you the ability to change directions quickly and become an active defender. You can also hold down the sprint button at the same time to enable speed jockey, which is for example a great tool to use to cut passing lanes and to be even more aggressive in 1v1 defending. The key with the whole 1v1 jockey is to not expose yourself but to let the opponent make the first move and then you strike like a cobra. That is why keeping the right distance towards the ball holder is the key, around 2 meters, enough to make a quick tackle but also enough to have time to react on a skill move. You should also very often move backwards with the jockey along with the opponent's forward motion in dangerous 1v1 areas, this to give yourself margins and not to fall victim for a cheap skill move if you just rush forward. When you play a bit more aggressively with your team and try to push forwards with defenders, you must always track them back in position after making an unsuccessful push. And here again, the jockey button is the key to make quick directional changes. Here you can see the difference in the directional change. If we just hold down the sprint button, he will make a very heavy turn back. But if you press down the jockey button, L2, in the moment of the directional change, he will track back instantly. It really does wonders. Another fundamental of the defense is to of course cut the passing lanes, and this is the main job of the CDMs, to stop this dangerous pass to enter into the box where you are of course very vulnerable. In this case, we're using the help of the jockey and the speed jockey to enable fast movements. And we always have our vision on the striker in a dangerous position and try to use his position as a reference in our own movements. The key with cutting passing lanes is to not stay too far away from the ball holder, since you want to still be able to launch an attack if it gets a heavy touch. Just passively cutting passing lanes without intentions to retrieve the ball isn't a successful defense. You must be active in your defense and wait for your time to strike. Try to minimize the usage of the standing tackle button close to your penalty box. It is kind of clumsy in FIFA 21 and you can easily get penalty kicks against you. Standing tackles should only be used if you have a clean angle and if you are confident with the tackle. This can of course give you that extra reach to retrieve the ball back, but most times just holding down L2, the jockey button, is enough to take the ball back. And then we come to the contain button, which is X on PS4 or A on Xbox. A feature I don't like and that you should try to avoid as much as possible if you want to take your defense to the next level. Defending is a lot about reading the game, not being too passive, and this is exactly what contain doesn't offer you. But there is one situation on the pitch where contain can be great to use, and that is if your defender is isolated in the box in a central position. Defending this is almost impossible in 21 against a good player in poor circumstances. It is just going to be a guessing game. Here contain can be useful to hold down to mirror the opponent's movements. This is the only situation in your defense when contain can be an advantage. In this situation we won't contain and we're gonna be helpless in these heavy conditions. Use L2 body challenges. It is a great trick with very low risk, and this is to be used when you have the attacker shoulder to shoulder with your defender. With this trick you can stop rapid players with using the defender's strength. Just tap L2 or LT on Xbox and time it when the attacker is about to overtake your position. Slide tackles are extremely OP in FIFA 21 and is very often the best and most safe way to take the ball back without the bullshit rebounds. Slide tackles are massively improved in 21 and the risk is very low. Red cards are very rare, and especially if the tackle is from the front. Just wait for the long touch and then you go for the slide tackle. It is extremely effective in 21 and you should use it quite often. Fullbacks should not only be used to stop wingers from making crosses, but also to help out your center backs when they get outpaced. Very often opponents will try to run down the area between your center back and your fullback. Instead of chasing down with the center back, that is very often gonna be the slower option, you can just quickly right stick switch to your closest fullback and take care of the problem. Trying to activate as many players as possible is important for a successful defense. And then we come to the high pressure, which is the team press option in 21, and it has been changed to a timer that only lasts for a couple of seconds, just like with the offside trap. And this can be used to your advantage when an opponent has a bad touch in his build-up. The risk is quite small, and you'll have a great chance to win the ball back in a very dangerous area. To activate the team press, you just press down the D-pad, down and then left. It is very effective. And finally we come to the last part of the team, your goalkeeper, and believe it or not, but he is not an eggplant. This is your last lifeline and you must use him to his full extent. Press down the right stick and move around while the right stick is pressed down to take control of your keeper's movement and his position. In general, the far post is the best option in 21, and that is also where most people would try to finish. Hence, you would most rather move your keeper towards that direction. But the key is to not expose yourself too early. Wait until the last moment to move the keeper when the opponent already decided for a corner. That is defending in 21. I try to make this video as compact and comprehensive as possible, but of course covering defending in like 10 minutes is very hard. This is a huge subject. I could make a video that lasts for like 1 hour without any issues, but maybe it would be too long to watch, of course. And I hope you understand the concept still of defending in this game. It is so much about the right stick switching, and also of course, as always, maybe even more than ever, the jockey movement L2, trying to be active in your defense. Don't just let the AI take control of everything, because then you're gonna fall victim for some very cheap goals. And it takes time to get used to it. It takes time to transit from FIFA 20 to 21. It took me at least 100 games here before I could even make this video, because I was completely lost and I just had to get used to this new 21 system where the defenders are moving with the kind of different laws of physics, and you just have to try to implement this into your muscle memory. And that comes from practice only, just playing as much as possible and trying to just wipe out the FIFA 20. It takes time and you must practice. But that's it for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did so, make sure to drop a like if you found this useful. I will see you soon again. Thank you so much. And as always, until next time, take care.